Welcome. Without any further ado, and before the Texas contingent turns into ice blocks, as we're all frozen right now, I'd like to introduce the MC for today's short ceremony, Superintendent, Texas A&M Maritime Academy, Rear Admiral Mike Fossum.
All right. Howdy. Oh, good. All the Aggies that got it and everybody else joined in. Appreciate that. It is a great day in Aggie land. Welcome to the keel laying of the latest of the state class training ship, the Lone Star State, or NSMV number 4, or Hull 36. Is that what it's numbered here? Did I get that right? Okay, yeah. For you, it's Hull 36. It's my pleasure quickly to introduce you, to welcome and introduce the platform party up here. From the Maritime Administration, the Executive Director, Jack Kammerer. All right. From TOTE Services, the President, Jeff Dixon. All right. And the Philly Shipyard Project Director, John Bond. All right. Now, for some of you, I'm going to be introducing the next one is Texas A&M University President, Mark Welsh. You don't know him. You don't know his background. So I'm going to tell just a little bit. So he's a proud graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, but he's a son of an Aggie, class of 46. Actually, I've never talked about this. Classmates with my father-in-law, and together they walked off campus and went to fight World War II and come back. His father really wanted to have an Aggie son, but he wanted to fly fast and break things, so he went to the company school. It worked out. He was a fighter pilot in the Air Force, and all that worked out really well for him. And when he retired, he was the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. He was recruited by President George H.W. Bush to be the Dean of the Bush School of Government and Public Service, and that was just over 7 years ago, and he is now the 27th President of Texas A&M University. And welcome. Thank you. I do have to introduce a couple other very special people in the audience here. We've got Kelly Teichman on the front row. She's a member of our Board of Visitors and the Executive Chairman of T&T Marine, strong supporter for our campus and me. And then I also have to point out Captain Jack Smith, class of 64 in the red jacket right there. Jack was a member of our very first graduating class, and he sailed his entire career, including as the master of our training ship. And he's joined by his daughter, Dr. Jennifer Smith, who's I forget all your titles, Jennifer, but you're the Civil Rights Officer and Title IX Officer for all of Texas A&M University. And I was with Jack on a chase boat, or part of a flotilla last summer, while he watched his daughter go to sea for the first time on the training ship. So it's great to have you all with us. To deliver today's invocation, please welcome Cadet Cameron Chueka to give the invocation. All right, Cameron.
Gracious God, we thank you for this day and every day. We know that you are with us always as the shipyard crew crafts this vessel. We thank you as you watch over the shipbuilders and guide them in their craft. We ask you that you keep them safe and their skills sharp. Finally, we ask you that you bless this ship, all who work, learn, and sail on it. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Cameron. Really, it's on behalf of the entire Galveston campus of Texas A&M University and the Texas A&M Maritime Academy. Thank everybody for being here today as we celebrate this milestone. I first learned about the National Security Multi-Mission Vessel Program about 7 years ago when I discussed our lack of an adequate training ship with my predecessor, Rear Admiral Bob Smith, during our handover. He told me about other efforts which had failed to get us a training ship and told me that this new thing, this NSMV, was actually our only hope, but he said it was impossibly expensive and he couldn't imagine it ever being funded. So good luck. Thanks, that wasn't very encouraging. What was impossible just 7 years ago is now a reality, becoming reality right now, right here in the Philly Shipyard. Finally, after too many years, we have a new ship with modern capabilities, which our cadets, our crew, our faculty, our academy, our university, and our state can be incredibly proud to call their own. These vessels represented a dramatic change in the training and education of the United States Merchant Marine Officer Corps. Prior to these ships, every training ship for the past 150 years has been repurposed from a vessel either in commercial or military service. These ships, new ships, have been designed from the keel up for the purposes of training the future of the United States Merchant Marine on state-of-the-art technologically advanced platforms. No longer will cadets have to live or take classes in converted cargo holds. State-of-the-art training facilities for navigation, communication, ship automation, ship propulsion, facility services, and classroom instructional areas, all built with a collegiate fit and finish, truly bring the college campus to sea. Now, in addition to the training mission, and this is incredibly important to us in the Gulf of Mexico, the national emergency disaster relief capabilities have also been built into these vessels. These functions will allow the command and control, humanitarian relief, and disaster survey missions to rapidly deploy when called upon. Now, we have a lot of people to thank for this day, and I'll try to keep it brief. But first of all, I need to give a huge thanks to the entire Texas delegation in the Congress for their efforts. But I really need to recognize a few who led the charge. Senator John Cornyn was our senior senator from Texas who served as a Republican whip during critical times as we worked to get this entire project moving. In our last meeting, actually a couple of years ago, he told me he was lining up support for the NSMV program and we would get our ship. But, and I quote, "Please don't ask me to try to get number 3 away from Susan Collins in Maine." I kid you not. I said, "That's okay, Senator. Let's just get the line moving and we'll be happy." Second is also Senator Ted Cruz. He has made multiple visits to the campus and was a passionate warrior on our behalf. As the current ranking member of the Senate Commerce Committee, Senator Cruz recognizes the crucial role of maritime for our national economy and national security, and he has been a huge supporter. Now, Senator Cruz was not able to be here today, but I'd like to, and I'll get in trouble for this, but I really want to recognize Alexis Rudd from the staff, who continues to work tirelessly behind the scenes. Where's Alexis? There you go. Thank you, Alexis. There's also Representative Randy Weber. He's our local member of Congress and a very frequent visitor to our campus in Galveston. We even got him on board for a full tour of the Kennedy about 2 months ago, including all the way down to the bowels of the engine room. And he has been absolutely essential in helping us develop our talking points, really our strategy as we're working our way through this. And he worked tirelessly to enlist the support we needed in the House. Randy also sends his regrets, but he is represented today by Bill Christian, his Deputy Chief of Staff, right in the front row here too. And we really honestly have a lot to thank Bill and Alexis for, because we really know it's the staff that does all the really heavy lifting, right? Yeah, we know that. I also need to thank Texas A&M Chancellor John Sharp. He was unable to join us today, but the tide turning in our favor to really make this happen really occurred when he personally made this ship his top federal ask and priority, and he unleashed his formidable government relations team in Washington, D.C. and Austin to make sure it happened. The key to success, the Texas A&M University system, is get it number 1 on the chancellor's list, and it's amazing how many great things can happen. And we've got 4 members from the team here today, so thank you, Dustin, Carrie, Julie, and Michael, right up front. Thank you. Finally, I need to thank our cadets, our parents, our alumni, our board of visitors, and industry leaders who flooded congressional mailboxes so much I literally had one member call me. "Okay, Fossum, I get it. I'll support your dang ship." This is a quote. Well, okay, I did revise that a little. My staff is overwhelmed. Will you please tell them all to stop? Yes, sir. We got it. Folks, at long last, the dream is real. We did it. It is indeed a great day in Aggieland. Whoop! And for the rest of you that aren't Aggies, you're wondering, what did he just do? Okay, that's okay. Next up, please, the MARAD Executive Director, Jack Cameron.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me, General Wells, sir, Dr. Rudd, John Bond, Jeff Dixon, other distinguished visitors. Welcome and thanks for being here. First of all, thank you to TOTE Services, of course, and thank you to the Philly Shipyard for hosting today's ceremony, and of course for your incredible work on behalf of the National Security Multi-Mission Vessels. Thank you very much. On behalf of the Maritime Administration and the Department of Transportation, it's great to be with you here today. It's especially a pleasure and honor to see the great cadets from Texas A&M Maritime Academy under the leadership of their superintendent, Admiral Fossum, which is really the reason and the purpose for the federal government's investment in modern training capabilities for our future merchant mariners. So let's give the cadets a hand for being here. As you may know, the Maritime Administration's mission is to foster, promote, and develop the maritime industry of the United States and to meet the nation's economic and security needs. As part of our work, we help support the state maritime academies like Texas A&M across the country as they educate the next wave of Americans' maritime workforce. Along with the graduates of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, State Maritime Academy graduates, like from Texas A&M, play vital roles in our security and economy, and they need cutting-edge training platforms to prepare them for their careers at sea. From concept to reality, today's milestone begins the physical process of building a vessel, in this case, the Lone Star State, that will provide a world-class training experience to our future mariners and provide extraordinary new capabilities to the United States. Each NSMV has state-of-the-art training facilities, including a full training bridge, classrooms, and staterooms where cadets can learn the evolving technologies employed on the most modern vessels. Each vessel will also have modern hospital facilities, a helicopter pad, and the ability to accommodate up to 1,000 people in times of humanitarian need. The United States has never had, and never built such vessels before, and the construction of these vessels as national assets is an incredible accomplishment. The construction of these ships is also helping to strengthen our shipbuilding industry and showcasing a new innovative model for producing ships. Philadelphia has long served as a strategic hub for America's maritime industry, and this new class of ships advances that legacy with another historic contribution to the nation. Can't wait to come back here later this year when we get the delivery of the NSMV. But at the end of the day, thanks very much for being here. And I would like to introduce my colleague, Jeff Dixon from TOTE. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
It's always fun when you bring a cell phone up to the podium, and I was like, he's going to read that for his speech? No, I'm not. It's just a couple little pointers to keep me on track. So, good afternoon, General Welch. Thank you so much for you and your team making the visit out today to join us for this ceremony. Admiral Fossum, he told me today is an Admiral Day, not a Colonel Day, so I got this. Today we're making history, but I would be remiss if I let you look back on this ceremony and just remember, well, it was pretty cold, and we talked about some stuff, and then it was pretty cold, and then that was the end of the ceremony. So what I would like to do is just give you a little context of what brings us all here today. And at the end of that, I hope you will join me in a round of applause for everyone standing here, because everyone here has got us here today. It wasn't just sort of thing like, hey, we just wandered into this. If you go back to when MARAD initiated this program, when funding became available in 18, I think it was 18, right, Ken? Or maybe it was 17, it's fuzzy. But MARAD went out and they put out a bid for what they called a vessel construction manager. And the concept was MARAD would have a contract with this commercial shipbuilder and operator, and then that company, which became TOTE Services, we won that competition. We went out and solicited all the available shipyards that wanted to compete. So I still go back, look around right now and see this vibrant shipyard. None of this was here. Okay, the shipyard premises was here, but all these pieces of ship. And by the way, I don't know where hull 4 is, so don't ask me. But yeah, we walked through that steel fab facility and it was deserted. And I'll never forget, there was one gentleman with a broom. That was it. Philly went out, they fought, they won. No one had their thumb on the scale for this award. They went out and they earned it, and they got the contract, and they kicked off. Guess what? When that contract started, there was no such thing as, hopefully it's in the trust tree I can say this word, COVID, right? It didn't exist. There was no such thing as labor shortages and global supply chain disruptions. None of that stuff existed. Yet here we are today, nearly on schedule. You know, you can quibble what's on schedule, what's off schedule. Similar programs that were going on in parallel to this at other yards around the country, 1 year behind, 2 years behind. That is significant that we are here today to celebrate this. I look back, you know, I always talk in snapshots. My team's like, oh gosh, stop, Jeff. You know, another snapshot. Yeah, it's pretty cold today, but let me tell you about the first keel laying ceremony on the Empire State. It was 22 degrees. I'm from Florida. That's not a happy place for me to be, 22 degrees, okay? Fast forward, you know, I look forward today, we're gonna do the keel laying ceremony down in the dock, and then things moved really fast. I was just up at SUNY Maritime College 2 months ago when the Empire State arrived. And I was, Captain Post and I were talking about this earlier. It was raining, like biblical rain, like monsoon. Every cadet was out lining the seawall, and their eyes were big as saucers. It was the most exciting thing they had ever seen. Fast forward, we were here, we did a tour for Maine Maritime, and they had maybe 50 cadets here. And we were talking beforehand about it, and they're all, you know, they all went on the ship. When they came off, right, Eric? Every one of them grinning ear to ear, just talking among themselves, so excited. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't wait. And then we went and had lunch over at the courtyard. The whole time, the energy was off the charts. That's what we're accomplishing. So I know what this is going to look like as you start to prepare. You know, Lone Star State comes together, we start to be ready for sailing, and when the ship arrives down at the campus, I know what you have to look forward to. So I am so excited for this group today. We are making history. General, I will tell you, we know this is a no-fail mission, and you have our 100% commitment. Everyone here, if you can join me giving them a round of applause, because they deserve it. All right, I'm getting a look from Sarah. I think I'm over my time. So thank you again for joining us. It truly is an honor to introduce John Bond. He is the project director here. He's a Renaissance man, and he is one of those who has been here from the very start and is truly responsible for the success we've enjoyed to this point. No pressure, John.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, very much. I think we'll have to take the show on the road and have you introduce me for future speeches. On behalf of Steiner Nervik and Philadelphia Shipyard, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the shipyard today for the keel laying ceremony of NSMV 4, and of course, welcome you to the shipyard overall. And we've also brought good weather to the shipyard today. It's actually a warm day today for us in Philly, so hopefully you will appreciate that. I think Jeff noted before, we can have some pretty cold days. This vessel, as well as the other 4 purpose-built vessels, were designed as training vessels for the U.S. Maritime Academies. The vessels are also equipped to provide emergency humanitarian relief in areas in and around the United States affected by natural disasters. I would be remiss, I think, if I didn't mention today that we're here for the 4th of the 5 NSMV keel layings, and I think most of the shipbuilders here will tell you that time flies when you're having fun, and when you're building ships, time definitely flies very quickly. So a lot has been accomplished in a very short period of time. Successful shipbuilding projects take, like a lot of most other large, complicated construction projects, takes a lot of excellent communication, cooperation, and commitment from all the stakeholders. And from time to time, I would say a little bit of patience, and maybe other times maybe a lot more patience. But nonetheless, it's about the people. It's about the village, basically. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some of our key partners on the project, starting with TOTE Services, the vessel construction manager, the lead on-site Philly Shipyard, or led on-site by Philly Shipyard by the Director of New Construction, NSMV Program Manager, Chris Clark, and his team of professional inspectors and marine engineers, which are in the back of the room. Thank you very much. MARAD, of course, the vessel owner, led by Lila Linares, NSMV Program Manager, who's currently, I believe, is deployed at this point. Also notable, Paul Gilmore, the contract officer, but also on site with us today is the ACOR's, the Associate Contract Officers, David Krantz and Ari Unger, playing a very important role at the facility. Robert Aslan, Deputy Project Manager, is representing MARAD's project team today at the shipyard. Of course, ABS Classification Society is led by Stephen Pizzarella. He's the principal surveyor here, and of course he's got a team that he's leading for the inspection side of the operation. Of course, United States Coast Guard, OCMI, Delaware Sector Bay, that's led by Chief Warrant Officer Peter Goldnick. He's the lead marine inspector, and he also has a number of other inspectors he leads throughout the various inspections at the facility, and there are a lot of them. Of course, the entire Philly Shipyard team. Too numerous to name all of them, but I would like to name a few of the key departments and participants that play a very, very important role. Bob Fitzpatrick, the Vice President of Production, Steve Matz, Vice President Engineering and Planning, and Hardik Patel is the Procurement Director, who's with us today. Today, the keel laying represents the lowering of the first Grand block number 150, we call it GB 150, weighing approximately 630 tons. That's put into place in the building dock, and is the ceremonial beginning of the ship's life. We noted at dinner last night, and for Texas, this is the largest block that we've actually keel laid. So it's the biggest block of all of them, and will likely be probably the largest for all 5 ships. I just want to go on record to make that point. In the upcoming months, this particular Grand block will be joined with 38 other Grand blocks, which will essentially complete the vessel. And then from that point, we'll be launching the vessel and be prepping the vessel for the final sea trials and for delivery. Later today, members of the Texas A&M Maritime Academy will be placing coins beneath the keel and on top of the keel blocks, in line with a long-standing tradition, which is believed to safeguard the vessel and all who sail upon her. This is a little bit less benign process than human sacrifices, which were once utilized by the Vikings, and I do work for a Viking. I'll continue to keep Steiner at bay, Jeff, at this point. But I'm hopeful that we'll also be placing coins at NSMV 5 and not migrating back to the more impactful Viking process. So this should be, I think, a very exciting process today. I am confirming today that to Texas A&M Maritime Academy, I just want to let you know that you have the full commitment of Philly Shipyard to complete and deliver a world-class vessel. We're excited to do so. Very excited. I hope you enjoyed the event today, and the shipyard tour is a little bit later. So thank you very much for your time.
Well, thanks each of you. Awesome words. It's a great day here. Now, actually, I want to introduce the beneficiaries of the ship. Of course, it's the cadets of Texas A&M Maritime Academy, and really today they'll be represented by the president of Texas A&M University, General Mark Welsh.
Howdy. And thanks for letting us be here today. Let me start by telling all of you from the Republic who are just visiting for the day, welcome to winter. We're not used to this, and you guys are laughing thinking it's not even cool yet. I'd like to thank not just the Executive Director of the Maritime Administration, because having you here, Director Kammer, is a big deal. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. But to the leadership team from the shipyard, from TOTES, and maybe most importantly, these guys are awesome, but all of you who are out there going to work on this project, who live and work here day to day, thanks for what you do. Congratulations on being part of this incredibly historic place and the chance you have to continue to contribute to that legacy over time. It's really an honor to be here with you today. Thank you. And I'd also like to say, Captain Smith, it is an honor to even meet you from a distance. Your daughter is a rock star, but this day is all about you, sir. Thanks for the example you set for all those years that these guys are now going to follow. It's an honor to have you here, sir. Let me tell you why I love this day. There's a couple of reasons. The first one is getting to see Admiral Fossum in his uniform. I've always known him as Colonel Fossum until he came to A&M. But this is a guy who has flown on 3 space shuttle missions. He's spent about 194 days in space. And I don't know if he's ever been more excited than he is today about a keel laying for a vessel that's coming to his Maritime Academy where he serves as superintendent. This is a big deal to Mike Fossum. He's worked awfully hard to get here. Mike, congratulations and thank you on behalf of all of us at Texas A&M for arriving at this point. You did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
I wish Chancellor Sharp could be here because everything Mike said about him is true. And he didn't mention the entire Texas delegation, but he could have, because there is not a state in the country that has a congressional delegation, federal and state legislature, that supports its educational industry better than Texas does. And they are a huge part of why we're here today. So our thanks go to them as well. But most importantly, Gunnar, would you come up here for a minute? This day is about kind of about Texas A&M in a different way, but this is the face of Texas A&M. Texas A&M, for those of you who haven't been there, is a very interesting place because it's all about really corny things. Seriously, it's about pride and patriotism and faith and family and loyalty and respect and honor and integrity, because everybody down there talks about that stuff all the time, because that's what the place is. It's about serving your friends, your family, your community, your city, your state, your nation, and your world. That's what the whole place is all about. And there are 77,500 gunners walking campus in College Station and another 2,500 to 3,000 walking campus in Galveston. I met Gunner the first time I went down to visit Galveston, and he gave me a tour through the Kennedy, the training ship we're using there now. And we're standing in the engine room because he wants to be an engineer. And he was describing to my wife and I what everything, I'll just call them tubes and stuff, are. Because I'm a pilot, not a sailor. I have no idea what we're looking at. But Gunner's explaining all this stuff to us, and right in the middle of it, he literally lost control of himself. And he threw his arms up in the air and he said, "I'm sorry, I love this place." And he's talking about the engine room. And when you match the Lone Star State with Gunner, we get greatness for the blue economy and for the United States of America and for disaster relief efforts all along the Gulf Coast. That's what this is about. It's about his future. It's about him chasing his dream. It's about these guys running alongside him. It's about trying to live up to the legacy that guy built for you. And it's about serving Texans, serving this nation, and serving our world. Because that's what we do, right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming up here. We are all honored to be here. Thank you to everybody who had any hand in this getting to this day. And I'll promise you this, we will put the spotlight on this ship as soon as she arrives in Galveston, and we will make sure that everybody in that part of the country knows the contribution she's making to our economy and to any kind of disaster relief effort she's involved in. And we'll do everything we can to make sure that the Texas A&M Maritime Academy leads the blue economy. That's the goal. We're terrible at second place in Aggieland. Thanks for being here, and thanks for letting us join you.
Perfect. You bet. I think we're about done speechifying up here. I'm going to ask the stage party to move down to the out here to prepare to go down to the dock edge. There are some people that will be going down below. Everybody else stay up here and enjoy supposed to be a short video. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. While we're out doing the coin placement down inside. Thank you very much, everybody. If you got to go back to work or go warm up, I understand.